everyone, and welcome to Angie and Christie Right Now. I'm Christy Berman.
And I'm Angie Sandro.
And together we are doing this podcast where we help writers write. And today we are doing our top 5 favorite romance tropes. Ooh, because everybody loves a good romance, but everybody has different tropes that they love. And Angie and I were talking about it. These are ours.
Yes,
so
I'm excited to get into
I know I love talking about romance, and everybody has a different kind that they like. And I have to admit, mine are more spec fic than contemporary, which I think is the same for you, right?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through our top 5. I think that they're pretty much in order, these ones, but not necessarily. And we reserve the right at any point anyways to change our minds about any of these. These are the ones that right now we feel are our top favorite.
Or right now.
And also, we're going to give you some examples of the ones that we like. So if you want to click to buy, then you can we'll put the links on so that you can just go and click and order that book, because some of them are awesome. I will tell you right now. So, Angie, would you like to do the honors and go for our number 5?
Okay, well, this is one of my favorites for sure. Number 5, Secret Identity, right? So this is a romance genre where there is a person of hidden in the shadows. Like, you get to meet them, but you don't really know what's going on. There's some secret that they have, whether it's that they're in royalty, maybe in the witness protection program, undercover cop, right? Like some secret identity that you don't know, what's going on. And as you progress through the book, you slowly start getting clues, right, about who they are. My favorite setup is when it's a hidden prince, and he's out there and he finds this. I know this is so silly. It's like a trope. It's like the Cinderella trope where you have the girl who's being, just picked on all the time, and then the guy comes in and then he rescues her. But then again, I like it when the girl rescues herself too. So I'm like torn on that one. Like, I guess I like it, when the female lead is strong and able to go out and for what she wants to. So yeah, that's one of those.
Don't you feel like I get the feminism of it, like you don't want the girl to be like, oh, do everything for me, but at the same time there are some days where that's what I want to read. Like, yeah. I don't know, like I have some days where I just want to read the Cinderella story, and then there are some days where I'm fiercely like, absolutely not, Cinderella, you need to put your boots on and go work, like kind of thing.
So right? So because I was saying that too, like I was listening to myself say that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, because that's not who I am either. Like, I don't want some guy to come in and rescue me. Exactly. I want to be a partner and like it and things.
Exactly.
But then again, there's that teeny tiny part where you're like,
I think it depends on the day. I think it depends on the day. And I don't like the ones where like they're totally useless, but I do like the ones where like maybe the man is willing to help them out a little bit more, so it's all good. But my favorite secret identity, and it's because I'm like a total spec fic girl, is like when there's something that they're not. Okay, I'm gonna say it for everybody that hates Twilight out there, but the fact that she didn't know if he was like a vampire or not, to me, is like a secret identity that I would like. Like something like that where they're totally something that you couldn't even have imagined that they were.
Where you have like a shifter or yes. Some magical being that comes
yes.
down and
yeah, exactly. Even to be honest, like Outlander by Diana Galbadon, where like she's from a different time, you know what I mean? Like those are super exciting to me too. I love those. So definitely we'll put the links to those too, but I think those are some that people really know well, the ones that we've been talking about. But
they have a whole movie out of the Outlander now.
Exactly. Like, I mean, a series, like it's years and years and years. So yeah, and there's 4 movies for Twilight, or 5 for Twilight. So you can go look that up. But the one that I did read, one by Nora Roberts, which, like, I mean, who doesn't love a good Nora Roberts book, which is called The Witness. Okay. And that one has a good one in there too. There's a little like, the woman doesn't want to tell you what she is because she has a past and she's trying to hide, like I like those too, like where, and the very most exciting thing about a secret identity book to me is how the partner reacts, whichever, if it's the woman or the man, to when they figure out the secret. Like that is the very coolest part of any secret identity book to me, because either you get
reaction or a good reaction, right? Like the reaction that you're really waiting for, because that's like the whole thing.
Yeah,
Is like, okay, how are they gonna take this? Like,
exactly. And then sometimes during the books, like you're going to tell it now, say it now. The door is wide open if you just say, and they don't. And you're like, oh, you should have told them right then. Or
it's the perfect moment right now to tell
exactly.
someone this, and you waited, and now everything is gone to hell. Like she's like, no.
Exactly. So yeah, no. And then there's one that was recommended to me that I have not read, and it's Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, which apparently I need to get reading those because apparently like she's well, I know that she's an amazing best-selling author, and I just need to sit down and actually read. And then my third one that I'm going to suggest to you, and I'm digging myself because this is an old book, but it's Graceling by Kristen Kishore. And it's one of my all-time favorite fantasy books, and it's awesome. And there's secret identities on both sides, and you need to go read it.
I think I've read Throne of Glass. It feels very familiar.
Yeah, it's
And actually, Graceling, I think I've read that one as well.
yeah, awesome book.
I mean, I'm like, I think it's been a while, but the names are familiar.
And you know, like we were talking about women that take care of their own selves. Well, Graceling, yeah, like way top up there. She takes care of her own self. So yeah, absolutely. Those to me are awesome secret identity.
I'm gonna look in my Kindle.
Yes, and see if you've got it. Absolutely.
Oh, I do. Read.
Telling you.
Like, I feel like I've read this.
Me and Angie have a pretty similar reading style. Yeah, absolutely. So, yep, if you're a spec fic fan, welcome.
That's what we're probably going to be talking about.
Absolutely. So, do we want to go on to our number 4?
Sure. Let's do that. Let's see. Number 4. So I like this particular one kind of, but it's not like my favorite. But this is that's probably number 4. Holiday romance. So it's basically anything on the Hallmark Channel. Right? Like, and that's what I watch during holidays. Like, it's perfect. Like, you're like, it's Christmas, you don't have anything else to do, and you turn on Hallmark Channel, and boom, you've got something to watch.
Like, I mean, you sit on the couch with a throw on, a bowl of popcorn, and some hot cocoa, and you watch. Like, I mean, that is to me like the perfect afternoon when you have got nothing to do. Make it snowing outside while you're doing that, and then that is like sublime.
Yeah. Well, I'm in California, so I don't really get the whole snow thing. But if we're lucky, it's actual storm.
Yeah, and then you could do that. You can come down to the Northeast one year and we could do that for you.
Well, you know what I like about the holiday romances is a lot of times they have like family involved, and it's, you know, something warm and it's happy. And you can almost just smell like the smell of cinnamon and baking apples.
Yes.
Even though you're like as you're reading, you're like, because they have all those senses.
Yes.
You know, the senses get involved in it, right? Like you start, love that warm feeling. And you kind of know there's probably going to be a happy ending, right? Like it's going to be where, you know, these people come together. It's a lot of romance, you know, someone finding their true love, and it ends on a happy ending, and you feel good. Like
you absolutely do. And it like you were saying, it's about family. Usually the families are involved, you know, like, and I like that, especially at that time of the year. Like, that's what I want to read. And to make things even more like holiday romances to me are super cool, because me and my sister have a long tradition of giving each other a holiday romance for Christmas. We know for sure one of our gifts is a holiday romance book. I get one for her, she gets one for me, then we switch, so we actually get 2. So it's kind of cool, and it's like a tradition that we do. It doesn't have to be spectacular. It's just something, like, I love them, you know, like it means something. Most of the time, either one of us will buy the other a Debbie Macomber book. She's such an amazing romance writer with so many books to her name, but I'm just going to mention one of her holiday romances, which is The Forgetful Bride, which is one of 2 books that she published in her home for the holidays a few years back. And I really enjoyed that one. It's exactly what you want, you know, like it's 2 people who fall in love over the holidays, and it's exactly what you want. And then there is one that I absolutely want to read that I didn't get to read last Christmas, and it's In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. Now, Christina Lauren is a pen name for two people. I don't remember their names, but oh, yeah, I have one of their books here. So it's, yeah, Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings. And I absolutely want to read that one because it sounds so cute and amazing. And I absolutely want to read it. If you're thinking of me during the Christmas holidays, Angie, I'll be reading those.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I may join you. Like we can maybe do a book review or something, or like just chat.
Absolutely. Say what we're reading. Absolutely.
All right. So our next number 3, and this is my favorite. Okay. So this is my absolute favorite in books and in Korean dramas because I love Korean dramas. Okay? And that's innocent cohabitation and sometimes not so innocent cohabitation. Just saying, right? It's when the characters are forced to live together. And innocent cohabitation is when there's no sexual relationship involved. And so I really like when they're friends, or no, I specifically like when they're enemies. But we can get to that in a later, a little later. But when they are forced to live together, that forced proximity, they can't, leave. Like for some reason, they end up living in the same house and they're roommates, and they can't leave because they don't have any money and they've already paid the deposit and they're forced to live together, or families are like saying that they have to live together for some reason, which can kind of also go into another of these weird little tropes where like the forced marriage or forced fiancés.
Yes.
But yeah, I like it when they're like fighting and they're like living together, and then slowly over time they get to know each other, so they're actually friends and they become friends first, and then the relationship slowly evolves into something more. And I really like that because I like that friend, like I like when they are friends. Like I don't like it when there's nothing tying them together other than a sexual attraction. I like that there is an actual friendship behind it. And then like my absolute favorite is when they're like they have to share a bedroom for some reason, and they're like but no sex involved, just they're like, right, it's that innocence, where they slowly evolve into a relationship, and that makes it more attractive to me, than just an automatic,
No, I totally agree with you. I think it's a slow burn, like the getting to know someone that is attractive in that whole thing. And I think the other thing that I really like about that is when they're housemates, like they share a house or an apartment, whatever. And one of them has either a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So it's even more complicated because like you get to know them, you fall in love with them, but you can't do anything about it because they're dating somebody. And then all of a sudden, that relationship breaks up and it's like, So I kind of
before she finds someone
exactly. Like I kind of like that because that's even more like you can't do anything about it, like you're falling in love with this person and there's nothing you can do because they're in a different relationship. So I kind of like
fun because then you have to worry about, okay, if I say something, will I ruin that relationship?
Exactly. And that could be the love of their life. So like I can't say anything, I can't do anything. And then the angst, like, yeah, I like that.
And then not knowing, okay, I feel like there are sparks between us, but I don't know for sure. And
exactly. And then the other person, like when you get, especially when you get the dual POV on that, and then you see the other person who's already in a relationship going like, oh man, like, wait, what am I feeling here? Like, no, I'm seeing somebody else, or like, I love that.
That brings a lot of conflict. The whole thing is conflict. And that's what I love in stories is when there's a lot of conflict, not ridiculous conflict either. Like, those that can, trite, like made up, I'm angry because of something stupid.
Yes.
Which we'll get you in another video because we have our least favorite tropes as well. Right. I like conflict where it moves the story forward.
Yes.
And you can see, okay, these are real relationship issues. If you don't fix these relationship issues, then it's not going to be a successful relationship. And it's not going to be a successful book either, because if there's nothing going on in the story, then it's going to be boring. I know some people like it when they immediately fall in love and everything's like, I don't. Like if they fall in love within like the first 5 chapters, I'm done. Unless there's something else that is like driving them apart and keeping them from being together. And
that's a totally different trope, right? Like, I mean, when you fall in love and then something, exactly. When there's an obstacle that you have to overcome. But in this one, I completely agree with you. Take it slow, and just one thing at a time. I agree completely.
The slow build, right?
Complete, like, you know, like they touch fingers because they're undoing the dishwasher and sparks fly, but they can't do anything about it. You know, like I love that. So,
or the guy comes out of the bathroom and the towel, and you're like,
whoa, yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. Totally agree with you. Some of the examples that I have for this, one of them is one of our favorite authors, Rebecca Yarros, and Beyond What Is Given, which is exactly that. They're roommates that figure out that they are made for each other, but they can't be together at the same time. And I'm going to date myself again because I'm going to suggest Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. I don't know if did you read that one, Angie?
I did.
Okay. I like and not like that story. It's also like, it's not just a forced roommate situation or innocent cohabitation. They do have to sleep in the same bed, but it's because of a bet. So they bet each other that they're not gonna do anything if they live together for a month. But it is a very slow burn, and it is roommates, so I put it in there because it was one of my favorites.
It's been a long time since I've read that one too. I can't really.
Yeah, it's old. It's an old book, but it's still one of the ones that, you know, like there's books that just stick with you, and that one.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then there's one which I have not read, but I intend to read, and it's called Spare Me by Tara Civic. And it sounds absolutely 100% up my alley because it's about a nerd. And
yes.
Okay, you just need to put that, like, anywhere that you put that, anywhere, either in the title or in your blurb. Yeah. Buy it. It's done.
Yes. So number 2. Okay, so I like this because it's the forced proximity. So you have the innocent cohabitation. This one is forced proximity, and it's like stranded, like you're on a deserted island and you're stuck together and you can't get away. Like you are forced to either sink or swim with this person, you know, and it slowly evolves because you depend on them. So it's like, you know, you're in an airplane and you crash onto a mountain, and you know you have to try and survive and get off the mountain like without dying, and romance ensues.
But it's true. Like, I mean, those are cool because you depend on the other person for survival. And especially in those situations, like, I mean, sex is probably not the first thing on your mind. It's more like shelter and food and water and how do we get home? You know, like those are
and not die from like the elements.
Exactly. Sharks and frozen and whatever, you know, like how long can you eat a coconut for? And I think that is part of the attraction to it, that there's so much that they have to deal with apart from, hey, you're kind of cute, or I kind of like the way that you think about things, or, you know, stuff like that. So I think that to me is part of the attraction, is
the survival element to it. That's what I really like it as well. Like,
you
know, they have things to talk about that's not just
them.
You know, okay, so how are we going to build a house?
Yep.
How do we get food? Like, how are we going to do this and that? And it shows like the hidden strengths in each of the characters as well, because they have to dig deep and find, you know, something more inside of them, and in turn it kind of is reflected on the other person as well. So
absolutely. And you know, like, I mean, there's so much that can happen in those books. Like the tension is usually so high because like there can be avalanches, one of them can be hurt, another one maybe needs to go on their own to go get something, and something can happen to them, you know, like there's so much tension.
Well, and they do this really well in the stories that I like, which are, you know, in the fantasy novels where they have to go on a quest. They're on a quest, like trying to find the one ring, only there was, you know, anyway.
Absolutely. No, it's so true. I totally agree with you.
Fantasy stories, you know, where they're like stuck together and they're like out in the woods somewhere trying to get away. And those are fun as well.
No, I like those. Those are very good. And there's something very, like, in a weird way, there's something very romantic about being stuck. Like romantic in the true meaning of romantic, you know, like the hardship romantic of being stuck in an island or in a freezing mountain and together overcoming it. Like, I think it's nice to read.
So we had chosen some books.
One Night on the Island by Josie Silver. It's so cool. It's two people who show up on an island in Ireland, stay in an inn, and there's one room, and unfortunately due to some bugs in the reservation system, they are both there at the same time. What better? Like, I mean, stuck on an island with one person that you absolutely hate because, by the way, the ferry only comes in a week. So you're stuck there with that person for a week and you hate them because they took your room and vice versa. So it's not really a survival, but you are stranded with that person that you don't really know. The next one is a little, could be a little controversial, maybe, or one controversial choice. On the Island by Tracy Garvis Graves. And it's about a teacher who gets stuck on an island with her tutoree. Is that what you call it? The only thing is there's a huge age difference because she's 30, he's 16. But don't worry, folks, nothing happens until he's an adult. And although I have not read this one, we both have read that it is handled very professionally and very, very well. So
yeah, because I was having a problem with that whole age gap thing as well. Yeah, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to read something like that. But then I was looking at all the reviews, and all the reviews were saying that it was handled really well. And so yeah, so I mean, I would research and see if it's something that you would want to read. And but it is within the same theme, right? So
absolutely.
And she's a New York Times bestselling author, so I'm guessing it's pretty good.
Yeah,
so
I'm definitely going to take a peek. Like I'm telling you right now, like I'm definitely going to read this one to see for myself.
yeah, I do too. I kind of, because I do like being forced on an island, but yeah, the whole age thing I would have a problem with if it's not handled well.
Yeah.
And like I said, from all the reviews that I was reading, they were saying the whole book was over a long period of time. So
Perfect. Which is even better to me because like the longer you're stranded, the better it is. So
right, yeah, because in the very beginning you're just trying to live, like you're just trying to find food and find water and shelter and stuff like that. And then over time, things can progress to the point where you're actually able to maybe even think about having a relationship. And then if you're on an island and you're the only two people, or like in the on a mountain, same thing, you're the only two people that you have to talk to, just have a conversation. Like poor Wilson, the
imagine like having a fight when you're in a situation like that. Like there's just two people in your whole world, and then you fighting with the other one. Like that doesn't leave you much choice to do it.
You go to what? I'm gonna go talk to dolphins or something. Like here's my coconut. Like here, you can argue with the coconut, and I'm gonna go.
That's right. Like how long do you stay mad at that other person? Because honestly, like I couldn't, because there'd be like nobody else to do. So.
Why will you really even have an argument
about what?
I mean, you can't burn those bridges.
Nope.
But then what if well, this is a completely different story too. Like the person real jerk, and you got
that's a problem right there,
right? Like I would rather go, and this is your half of the island. This is my half of the island. You don't cross onto my half, and I don't care if there's predators on there. I will live with the predators on my side of the island before I live with you, because I hate you.
That's right. That would be it's actually a great segue to our number one, actually. Go for it, Angie.
Enemies and lovers. Enemies and lovers. You're enemies and you're stuck on an island with them and you can't go away.
The perfect enemies to lovers. Like, I mean, there's only one person in your own world, and it's the one person that you can't stand. And now you have to like survive with that person for goodness knows how long, because that's like, I mean, if you want to talk enemies to lovers, that's probably the best one. But it is our favorite romance trope for different reasons. Like you don't have to be stranded for us to like these stories.
No, I mean, there could be various reasons why you really, I mean, they could be your high school rivals. Like, in high school, that was the one person who always got better grades than you. Like,
yep. And you hate them because like they won the science fair every freaking year and you never did. Yes.
Or your next door neighbor that maybe you had a crush on when you were a kid, and then you found out that person really was, you just start for some reason just really start hating them, or there's some misunderstanding that caused you to hate them, but there's still that kind of attraction they're there, but you just hate you.
I know.
But I really love you.
Totally. Yes, 100%. And the one of the books that I'm going to suggest for this is I like this trope like out of the enemies to lovers trope, I like this even better. And the name of the book is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, who's also known as Rachel Hawkins. In that book, the reasons that they're enemy is because they used to date. And the guy was a
I remember,
total,
yes, I read that one. Yes.
that's right. And the guy was a total jerk, and he became enemy number one. And as you can tell by the title, The Ex-Hex, so she is a witch, and she puts a curse on him. So, like, I mean, you have to hate somebody really bad to put a curse on them. And then, of course, they meet up again. So that to me is like an amazing romance trope, because like not only is he your enemy, he's your enemy because you used to be lovers and you hate him with a passion now. So to me, like that's one of the perfect enemies to lovers kind of.
She did that really well. That was a really fun story.
That was such a cute story. I really, really enjoyed it. And the other one that I picked out is The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, which is another spec fiction one and best-selling, New York Times best-selling. You need to read this story. I'm not, oh, my cat just fell, sorry. But you need to read this one too, because this is another good trope, especially in fantasies where there's like two classes of people who are fighting. Like that's a very typical, I think, fantasy trope, but you add the enemies to lovers in there and it's perfect.
Oh, that sounds good. That one, yes.
Yeah, definitely. So that's it for Angie and Christie's top 5 favorite romance trope. Thank you, Angie.
Oh, it was so much fun, Christy.
Yay. We'll see you later.
Yeah.